The ruined city and the unexpected encounter. The sky was dark. Smoke rose from broken buildings. The city was dead. No voices, no life, only silence. Ethan Walker, a human soldier, walked slowly through the ruins. His boots crushed glass and ash under every step. He was tired. He was alone. His unit was gone. Everyone else had died in the last attack. The war between humans and aliens had destroyed everything. This place used to be full of light. Now it was cold, gray, and full of shadows. Ethan held his rifle tight. His eyes moved fast, watching every corner. The enemy could still be hiding somewhere. He turned a corner near a half-destroyed grocery store. The walls were black from fire. Shelves were empty. Cans and broken glass were everywhere. Then he heard something. A soft sound. A whisper, like someone crying. He froze. He aimed his weapon at the noise. His heart started beating faster. He took slow steps, quiet steps. The sound came from behind a fallen freezer. He raised his rifle and stepped closer. And then he saw her, an alien. Thin, weak, dirty. Her skin was pale blue and covered with cuts. She wore torn clothes. Her hands were shaking. She wasn't alone. She held something in her arms. A baby. Small, quiet, breathing weakly. The alien mother didn't move. She just looked at Ethan with wide, tired eyes. She was scared, but not begging. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She just held the child close to her chest, protecting it. Ethan's finger tightened on the trigger. This was the enemy. He was trained to shoot on sight, but something inside him stopped him. The woman was barely alive. She was digging through old trash for food. The baby looked close to death. This wasn't a soldier. This wasn't a threat. This was a mother. Ethan slowly lowered his weapon. He reached into his bag and pulled out a food ration, a small energy bar. He knelt down and held it out to her. The alien mother looked at it, then at him. Her eyes were full of confusion, fear, and pain. She slowly reached out, took the bar, and tore it in half. She gave one half to the baby. The other she placed in her mouth, biting slowly. She chewed carefully, like she hadn't eaten in days. Ethan stayed quiet. He watched her. He didn't know why, but he felt something in his chest. Something heavy. The baby made a soft sound. It looked up at Ethan. Its eyes were big and full of light. The child didn't cry. It just stared. Then, suddenly, the mother collapsed. Her body hit the ground with a soft thud. She had used all her energy feeding her child. Ethan's eyes widened. He dropped his gun and ran to her. He checked her pulse. She was still alive, but barely. He looked around. No help. No medics. No one left. Just him. He looked at the alien baby. It was holding onto its mother's shirt, confused. Ethan had a choice. He could walk away, leave them, follow the rules, or break every order he was ever given. He took off his jacket and wrapped the alien baby in it. Then he gently lifted the mother in his arms. She was light, too light, starving. Ethan didn't speak. He just started walking, fast, toward an old human bunker he had seen earlier. The baby made a small noise. It wasn't crying, just breathing, soft and tired. As Ethan carried them both through the dead city, he looked up at the dark sky. He didn't know why he was doing this. Maybe it was the way she looked at him. Maybe it was the baby's eyes. Maybe he was just tired of war. One thing was clear. This mother and child were not his enemies. Not today. And what he just did would change everything. Shelter in the shadows. The cold wind blew through the ruined city as Ethan pushed forward. His arms were full, one carrying the unconscious alien mother, the other holding her quiet child wrapped in his military jacket. The city behind him was silent, watching, almost as if it knew something had changed. Ethan's boots hit cracked pavement. Dust rose with every step. His back ached, but he didn't stop. He walked for miles, through broken buildings, past the skeletons of machines and dreams, until finally he reached the edge of the city, where an old human bunker stood, half buried under dirt and rubble. It was a place no one used anymore. After the last bombings, it was declared unsafe, but Ethan remembered it from a scouting mission, and now it was their only hope. He pushed the metal door open with his shoulder, grunting. Rust creaked. The smell inside was old, wet and dusty, but it was dry. Hidden. Safe. Ethan walked down the dark stairs, using his flashlight. The bunker had power, just enough. He found a small room with a bench and a metal bed frame. He placed the alien mother gently on the bed. The baby stayed close, still quiet, eyes blinking slowly. Ethan sat on the ground, breathing hard. He had just risked his life to save an alien. And for what? He didn't know yet. But as he looked at the baby wrapped in his jacket, sleeping peacefully for the first time, something inside his heart moved. A small warmth, a small truth. He couldn't let them die. Not like this. The alien mother woke up hours later. Her eyes opened slowly, confused, scared. Her body tried to sit up, but she was too weak. Ethan moved closer, slowly, hands up. No weapons. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe now." Of course, she didn't understand his words. But maybe she understood his eyes, his tone. She looked around, saw the child sleeping next to her. She touched the baby's face gently, then looked back at Ethan. No words, just silence. But silence can say many things. "Thank you." "Why?" "Who are you?" Ethan stood up and searched his bag. He brought water, a small can of human field food. He opened it and handed it to her. The alien woman took the food slowly. She ate little by little. Her hands still shook. Ethan sat across the room and watched. He didn't feel like a soldier anymore. He felt like something else. Maybe human. The next day, Ethan used old blankets to build a barrier near the doorway, just in case someone came. He used a small radio to listen for nearby patrols. So far, nothing. He wanted to keep moving, but the woman was still too weak. She didn't talk, but she started to watch him more closely. Every time Ethan moved, she followed him with her eyes. The baby had a small smile now. The child crawled toward Ethan once and touched his boot. Ethan smiled. "You're braver than most soldiers I know," he whispered. He bent down and picked the child up gently. The baby giggled, and for the first time in many months, Ethan laughed. Not loudly, not long, but it was real. That night, the alien woman did something unexpected. She sat up, reached into a pocket inside her torn clothes, pulled out a small, cracked device. It was like a tablet. She pressed something, and the screen lit up. Then she began to draw. With her finger, she sketched a small map. Mountains, trees, a river. Then a symbol, her village, a home. Ethan leaned closer. "You're trying to go there?" he asked. She nodded. He pointed at the map, then pointed outside, shook his head. "That place was bombed. It's gone." But the woman shook her head too, firmly. "Still there," her eyes said. "People still there." Ethan looked at the baby. If that village was real, they could be safe there. They could survive. But getting there was suicide. It was deep in alien territory, past burned bridges, past human watchtowers, past death. Still, he didn't say no. The next morning, Ethan stepped outside to scout. The sun was dim through smoke clouds. He wore a mask to filter the air. He moved quickly, quietly. But after a few blocks, he heard it. A sharp sound. A drone. It was flying low. A human scout drone. It was scanning everything. Ethan's heart pounded. If it saw the bunker, it would report back. Humans would come. Soldiers. Guns. Death. He ran back fast, feet pounding broken roads. Inside the bunker, he grabbed his gear. "Go," he whispered to the alien woman. "We leave now." She didn't understand the words, but she saw the fear in his face. She picked up her child and stood, even though her legs were shaking. They moved fast through alleyways, avoiding open spaces. Behind them, the drone passed above the bunker. It hovered, stopped, and then turned. It started scanning the street. Red lights blinked. Ethan cursed under his breath. He aimed his rifle, took a breath, and fired. The drone sparked, spun, and crashed to the ground. But now, they were exposed. They had to run. Hours passed. They walked through forests now. Tall alien trees with blue leaves. Strange animal sounds. The mother walked slowly, but with purpose. They stopped at a large stone. She pointed ahead, drew another mark in the dirt. Almost there. Ethan looked up. Smoke. Fresh smoke. Not from fire. From cooking fires. Could it be true? Could people, aliens, still be alive out here? He turned around, held his gun close, watched the trees. "Let's hope they don't shoot me on sight," he muttered. They stepped forward. One more hill. One more bend in the road. Then, he saw it. A wall, hidden with vines. A small gate. Someone watching from above. A pair of glowing eyes. The alien mother raised her hand. The watcher raised his. They were here. But were they welcome? Escape and discovery. The trees were tall and silent, their blue leaves swaying gently in the cold wind. The forest had a strange kind of peace, a quiet that felt too perfect, too still. But Ethan knew better. Quiet didn't always mean safety. Sometimes, it meant danger was waiting. He walked behind the alien mother as she held her child close. Her steps were slow but steady now. She was stronger. Not fully healed, but alive and determined. Ethan kept his weapon ready. His eyes moved from tree to tree, searching for movement, shadows, sounds. They had left the city far behind. The air was cleaner out here. No smoke, no ash, only the smell of damp earth and wild plants. Still, Ethan couldn't relax. He was a human soldier walking through alien territory with an enemy mother and child at his side. If anyone saw them, there would be no questions, only bullets. Hours passed. They stopped near a stream. The alien baby played in the water, laughing for the first time. The sound was soft, innocent, pure. Ethan smiled as he watched. It reminded him of something long ago. His little sister playing in the river back on Earth. Before the war, before everything changed. He looked at the alien mother. She sat on a rock, drinking water slowly. Her eyes were calm, but her hands stayed close to her child, always ready to protect. Ethan sat down beside them. He took out a piece of old paper and drew something. A small house. Trees. A sun. A stick figure family. He showed it to her. The alien woman looked at it, then drew her own picture next to his. Her drawing was simple, a circle of tents, with small figures standing in the middle. One had long hair, maybe her. Another was small, the child, and more figures stood around them. Ethan pointed at the camp and raised an eyebrow. "Your family?" he asked softly. She nodded. Ethan nodded back, but his smile faded when he looked up. Smoke. In the distance. He stood quickly and climbed a nearby rock for a better view. What he saw made his heart stop. A small village, half hidden, still alive. The alien woman led the way now, her steps faster, her eyes full of hope. But Ethan moved carefully. Something felt off. As they got closer, they saw wooden fences covered with vines. The gates were broken but still standing. Suddenly, a shout, a deep voice, angry, in the alien tongue. From the trees, 3 figures stepped out, tall, armed, their weapons pointed straight at Ethan. He raised his hands. "Wait," he shouted. "I'm not here to fight." But they didn't speak his language. The alien woman ran forward, placing herself between the soldiers and Ethan. She raised her hands and shouted something in their language. The soldiers hesitated. One of them lowered his weapon. Then another voice called out from the gate. An older alien, wise-looking, with gray skin and long robes, stepped forward. He looked at the woman, then at Ethan, then at the child. His eyes softened. He spoke to the soldiers in a firm tone. They lowered their weapons. Ethan let out a breath. He was still alive. Inside the camp, the people watched in silence as Ethan walked past. Alien children peeked from behind tents. Adults stood still, their eyes full of fear and hatred. To them, Ethan was not a savior. He was a soldier, a killer, a human. The alien mother spoke quickly to the elder, pointing at Ethan again and again. Ethan couldn't understand, but he could feel the emotion in her voice. She was defending him, explaining, telling them what he did, saving her, feeding her, carrying her through the ruins. Finally, the elder looked at Ethan and spoke in broken English. "You? Help her." Ethan nodded. "Yes, I couldn't leave her, or the child." The elder's eyes were deep and sharp. He studied Ethan for a long moment. Then he said something soft. "You are, strange human." The alien mother was reunited with her people. Her sister cried when she saw her alive. The child was passed between kind arms. There were tears, smiles, soft alien songs. But Ethan stood alone. No one spoke to him. No one thanked him. Only the elder came to him at night, sitting beside the fire. "You lost people too?" he asked. Ethan looked into the flames. "Yes," he whispered, "everyone." The elder nodded. "War makes all hearts heavy." There was silence. Then the elder spoke again. "We are running out of food, water, medicine. Many sick, many weak." Ethan turned to him. "I know where to get supplies," he said slowly, "but it's risky, very risky." The elder looked at him carefully. "You would help us again." Ethan looked at the sleeping alien child in a tent nearby. Then back at the elder. "Yes," he said. "I think I already started something. I have to finish it." That night, the alien mother came to Ethan. She handed him a small carved stone. He didn't know the meaning, but he could feel it. It was a gift, a thank you, a bond. He nodded silently and took it. Then he stood up and looked toward the hills. Beyond them was a human base, full of guards, full of danger, but also full of the medicine and food these people needed to live. He took a deep breath. Tomorrow he would walk into the lion's mouth, not for war, but to save those he was once told to hate. Secrets of the alien refuge. The stars blinked above the alien camp, cold and distant. The night was quiet, but not peaceful. It was the kind of silence that came before something big, something dangerous. Ethan sat alone on a flat rock at the edge of the camp, sharpening a broken metal rod into a makeshift knife. His rifle was low on energy. If he was going to sneak into a human base tomorrow, he would need more than just luck. Behind him, the camp whispered in a language he couldn't understand. He could feel their eyes on him. Every time he passed, alien villagers stared. Some whispered, others turned away. To them, he was not a hero. He was still the enemy. A soldier, a killer, a human. Earlier that day, the camp elder had shown Ethan the truth. They walked through a hidden tunnel under the camp, using small glowstones for light. The tunnel led to a cave, and inside were rows of injured aliens, children, elders, and mothers with babies. Some were coughing. Others couldn't even open their eyes. Their skin was pale, their bodies weak. They had no medicine, no clean water, no power. They were dying slowly. The elder pointed at a young boy whose leg had been burned. "He need human medkit," the elder said in broken English. No time left. Ethan bent down and looked at the boy. His leg was wrapped in dirty cloth. The child didn't cry. He was too weak. Ethan stood up and looked at the elder. "I'll do it," he said quietly. "I'll bring what you need." That night, as the wind moved through the trees, Ethan tried to sleep near the fire, but his mind wouldn't rest. He kept thinking about the human base, about what he would have to do to get in and out alive. He wasn't just stealing supplies. He was breaking every rule he had sworn to follow, to help the enemy. And yet, it didn't feel wrong. In fact, it felt like the only right thing he had done in years. A sound pulled him from his thoughts. Soft footsteps. He turned. It was the alien mother. She approached slowly, holding something in her hands, a folded piece of cloth. She handed it to him and took a step back. Ethan unfolded it carefully. It was a scarf made from the camp's rare cloth, carefully stitched, simple, but warm, a gift. He looked at her. She nodded once, then turned and walked away. No words were needed. He tied the scarf around his neck. It smelled faintly of firewood and something gentle. In the morning, the camp came alive early. People moved quietly, preparing what little they had to survive another day. Ethan met with the elder again. They studied a rough map of the area. The human base was about 10 kilometers south, built into a cliffside. He had been there before. It was well guarded, surrounded by drones and walls. But there was one weak point, a broken water tunnel beneath the storage wing. It was small and dangerous, but if he crawled through it, he could reach the medical storage area. "Only one chance," Ethan said. "If I fail, your people will die. I will die." The elder put a hand on his shoulder. "You already give hope," he said. "You do more than enough." Ethan nodded, trying to ignore the weight on his chest. He left at sunrise. The alien mother watched him go, holding her child tight. She didn't say goodbye. She only looked at him with those deep, quiet eyes. It felt like a promise, that she would wait, that he had to return. Ethan moved through the trees like a ghost, avoided the open roads, climbed down hills using ropes he found in the camp. By mid-afternoon, he reached the outer perimeter of the human base. He studied it from behind a dead tree. Drones floated above, scanning slowly. Guards walked in pairs. Everything was the same, except he wasn't. He wasn't one of them anymore. He didn't feel like a soldier. He felt like a thief, a traitor, but also something more, a protector. He waited until nightfall, then crawled toward the cliff wall. He found the tunnel, an old maintenance pipe, rusted and cracked. It smelled like mold and oil. He climbed in, inch by inch. The space was tight. Sharp metal cut his hands. He couldn't turn around, could barely breathe. But he kept crawling. For the child with the burned leg. For the mother who gave him her scarf. For the future. After what felt like forever, he reached the end of the tunnel. He pushed open a rusty panel and slipped into the shadows of the storage room. Metal crates lined the walls. Medical boxes stacked in corners. He grabbed what he could: bandages, med pens, water packs, power cells. Too much noise. Footsteps. A voice. "Who's there?" Ethan ducked behind a crate. A soldier entered, flashlight sweeping across the room. Ethan's heart pounded. He gripped his metal rod. If they saw him, it was over. The soldier turned the other way. Ethan moved fast, staying low. He reached the tunnel again, shoved the panel closed behind him, and began crawling back. His hands were shaking. His leg cramped. But he didn't stop. Because now, Lives were waiting on the other side. He emerged from the forest 2 hours before dawn. His body was covered in cuts, his clothes torn, his arms full of stolen hope. He expected silence. But the camp was awake. The elder ran to him. Others followed. He handed over the supplies, breathless. "They're alive?" he asked. The elder smiled. "Yes, but now, more can live." The alien mother appeared, rushing toward him. She didn't speak. She just hugged him. Tight. For the first time, Ethan froze, then hugged her back. Not as a soldier, not as a human, but as a friend. A dangerous plan. The morning sun rose slowly behind the trees, its golden light creeping across the alien camp. But there was no celebration, no cheering, no rest. Even though Ethan had returned with supplies, even though he had crawled through a death tunnel and risked everything, the war was not over. Not yet. In fact, it had just begun. Again. Because now, someone knew. It happened just after sunrise. A strange sound echoed across the sky. A high-pitched hum, like angry bees. Ethan ran out of his tent, grabbing his rifle. Others looked up too, eyes wide. Fear returning like cold wind. In the sky above the forest, a human recon drone floated in slow circles. Its red light blinked once, then again, and again. Watching. Recording. The alien children were pulled into tents. Mothers covered their babies. The camp elder stood frozen, staring up. Ethan's heart dropped. "This is bad," he muttered. "Very bad." The drone turned and flew away, vanishing into the clouds. But it had already seen enough. Inside the elder's tent, the leaders of the camp met. Ethan stood with them. "They saw the camp," he said. "And they saw me." He looked at the elder. "When they check the drone's footage, they'll know I helped you." The elder nodded. "And they will come." Ethan clenched his jaw. "They'll bring soldiers, guns, fire." There was silence in the tent. Then the elder asked, "What we do now?" Ethan looked down at the table. The camp map was still open. The same map they used for the supply run. His eyes fell on a spot to the west. A cave system he had seen during his last patrol, long ago. Deep, dark, hidden. "There," he said, pointing. "We move the people. Take the sick, the children, everyone. They won't find you there." The elder studied it. "Too far. No food. I'll help you move them. Then, I'll go." The elder looked confused. "Go where?" Ethan's face was hard. "To face them." Later that night, Ethan stood outside, staring at the stars. The alien mother walked up behind him. She said nothing, just stood beside him. Her child slept in a sling across her chest. Finally, she touched his arm and gave him something. A small glass orb, glowing faintly blue. Inside was a tiny swirl of light. He looked at her, confused. She pointed to his heart, then to the orb, and then smiled. It was her people's way of saying, "You carry light now." Ethan held the orb tightly. Maybe, for the first time, he believed it. The camp packed quickly, quietly. They carried only what they could hold. Sick ones were placed on wooden stretchers. The children walked in silence, holding hands. Ethan led them through the trees. The journey was long. The forest was thick, but no one complained. He showed them the cave, wide at the front, deep in the back. Enough space to hide, to survive. But as the last family stepped inside, Ethan turned around. He had one last job, one last stand. He returned to the place where it all began, the old ruined city. The same city where he first saw her, the alien mother, starving, holding her child. Now he stood alone again. But not as a lost soldier, not as a killer. This time, he came with a voice, a truth. He opened a hidden signal box inside the old human outpost. It still worked. Barely. He turned on the signal beacon. Then waited. Back at human headquarters, alarms rang. A soldier rushed into the command center. "Sir, we have something. A live beacon. From Sector 9. The commander turned sharply. "Sector 9. That area's abandoned." "Not anymore, sir. And there's more." He showed a screen. A frozen image from the recon drone. A human. Ethan Walker, standing in the alien camp, holding a baby, handing out supplies. The commander's face turned red with anger. "He's a traitor," he said coldly. "Send the unit. I want him dead. And bring the body back." Back in the ruins, Ethan waited with calm eyes and a rifle in hand. He wasn't planning to survive. He was planning to speak, to show them what this war had become, and what it had cost. An hour later, he heard them. Footsteps, voices, tanks rolling in the distance. They had come. 3 transport vehicles, dozens of armed soldiers, drones flying above. They surrounded the area. Ethan stepped out from behind a broken wall and raised both hands. A spotlight hit him. Guns clicked. "Lie down," a voice shouted. "Don't move." But Ethan didn't lie down. He stepped forward. "I'm not here to fight," he said loudly. "I'm here to talk." "Shut up," the soldier yelled. "You're under arrest." More soldiers aimed their rifles. "I saved lives," Ethan shouted. "They were starving, sick. I helped children, mothers, not enemies, just people." The commander himself stepped forward now. "You betrayed your own," he said. "You chose them over us." "I chose what was right," Ethan replied. "And I'd do it again." The commander raised his gun. No more words. Ethan closed his eyes and smiled, because he knew, somewhere in the hills, they were safe. The baby, the mother, the people. Safe because of him. And in that moment, he had no fear. Just peace. The human who changed everything. Smoke curled up from the broken road as Ethan stood tall in front of the human soldiers. The sky was gray. Dust hung in the air. Wind blew softly through the ruins. Dozens of rifles pointed at him. He didn't flinch. He didn't run. Because Ethan Walker had already made his choice. He was no longer just a soldier. He was something else now. A line in the dust between war and peace. "Ethan Walker," the commander barked, stepping forward. "You are charged with desertion, treason, and aiding the enemy during wartime." Ethan kept his hands raised. "I didn't desert. I just opened my eyes." The commander's face tightened. "You helped aliens. Fed them. Gave them stolen supplies. They were starving," Ethan said. "Sick. Dying. One of them was just a baby." A few soldiers shifted. One lowered his rifle slightly, uncertain. The commander noticed. "Don't listen to him," he shouted. He turned his back on Earth. Ethan stepped forward one slow step. "No, I turned my back on hate." He reached into his pocket slowly, carefully, and pulled out the glowing orb the alien mother had given him. The soldiers tensed. "It's not a weapon," Ethan said calmly. "It's a gift." The orb pulsed with soft blue light. He held it up. "They gave this to me, after I helped save their children, their elders. They're sick." He looked at the soldiers one by one. Have you ever looked into the eyes of a child from the other side? Not a soldier, not an enemy, just a child. No one answered, but one soldier looked down. Behind the soldiers, a camera drone floated into position, sent by human command to record the confrontation. Ethan saw it. He knew this was his moment, his final message. He stepped into the spotlight and looked directly at the drone. "If you're watching this, if you're sitting in some safe command center miles away, let me tell you something." His voice grew stronger, braver. "This war started because someone said we were better than them, that they were monsters, less than us. He held the orb in front of the camera. But they feel pain. They cry. They bleed. They love. His eyes burned with emotion. I watched a mother starve so her child could live. I carried her through fire and rubble. I watched her people heal me, even when they feared I would kill them. The silence in the ruined city was deep now. Even the wind seemed to stop. Ethan took one more breath. We don't win by killing what we fear. We win by protecting what we all share. Suddenly, a gunshot. It hit the ground near Ethan's foot. Enough, the commander shouted. Take him down. Soldiers raised their rifles again. Ethan closed his eyes. He thought of the baby's laugh, the mother's scarf, the glowing orb in his hand. And then, wait, someone yelled. A soldier stepped forward, young, nervous. Commander, maybe we should listen. The commander turned, furious. What did you say? The young soldier looked around. You saw the footage, sir. The kid, the camp. He helped them. Another soldier nodded. He could have let them die. And another. He risked his life for them. Alone. One by one, the rifles lowered. Not all, but enough. The commander's face twisted with rage. You're all fools, he growled. This is war. There is no room for weakness. He raised his weapon and aimed at Ethan himself. Ethan didn't move, didn't flinch. Then, bang, the shot rang out, but not from the commander. From behind him. He gasped. Blood spilled from his chest. He fell to his knees and collapsed. One of his own men had stopped him. Silence fell over the city. The drone camera zoomed in on Ethan, his face calm, his eyes full of tears. He stepped forward and picked up the commander's rifle, then placed it gently on the ground. No more killing, he said softly. Back in the hills, inside the cave, the alien mother felt her child stir. She looked up at the cave entrance. Somehow, she knew. He had done it. He had made the world listen. 3 days later, the footage of Ethan's speech went viral across human and alien networks. It spread like fire. We don't win by killing what we fear. We win by protecting what we all share. Those words were repeated everywhere, in city streets, in alien villages, in military bases, in quiet homes. For the first time in years, people questioned the war, asked hard questions, felt something they hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Ethan didn't return to human command. He disappeared. Some say he was taken by rebels. Others believe he was hiding in the caves with the alien families. But the truth, no one really knows. All they know is the legacy he left behind. The message that broke through walls, and the man who dared to stand alone, with nothing but the truth in his hands. In the alien camp, the baby grew older, stronger. Every night, the mother lit a small fire and told the story of the man who found her in the ruins, the man who fed her when she had no strength, the man who carried her child through war, the man who gave up everything for peace. And every night, the child listened with wide eyes, holding the glowing orb tight. The final stand and the message to the galaxy. Years passed, but some wounds never faded. The war between humans and aliens had not ended completely, but something inside it had changed. Not through force, not through fire, but because one man, a forgotten soldier named Ethan Walker, had chosen to stand, not with bullets, but with truth. His face was now a symbol. His words were written on banners. His voice echoed through screens. And yet, no one had seen him since that day. On the edge of the galaxy, deep in the green valleys of a hidden planet, life was blooming again. Alien farmers worked side by side with human engineers. Children from both worlds played together in the mud, chasing colorful creatures with bright eyes and tiny wings. And in the middle of this peaceful village stood a simple stone monument. No gold, no statue, Just a carved message on smooth gray rock. We don't win by killing what we fear. We win by protecting what we all share. Ethan Walker. One evening, as the twin suns set low behind the hills, a girl sat beside the monument, holding a glowing orb. She was half human, half alien. Pale blue skin, human eyes, her hair braided with small vines, her face quiet and strong. She touched the orb gently. It still glowed, soft, warm, alive. The same orb Ethan had once carried into the heart of war, the same light he had passed on. The girl looked up at her mother, now older, wiser, and full of silent pride. "Do you think he'll ever come back?" the girl asked. Her mother smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "He never left," she whispered. In the high orbit of Earth, inside a floating diplomatic station, world leaders from across star systems sat in silence as a new signal played on the central screen. A message that had never been seen before. A final broadcast, hidden in the old recon drone, finally decrypted after years. It was Ethan. His face tired, dirty, but his voice steady. "This war, it took everything from us," he began. "Families, homes, dreams." He looked directly into the camera. "But it gave us something too. A choice." He lifted the orb in his hand. "This is not just alien technology. It's a piece of a life I once thought was my enemy." He looked down, as if remembering. "I helped a mother who was starving. I held a child who was dying. I stood in a camp where people had nothing. And yet, they gave me everything they could." He raised his head again. "I was trained to shoot them. Instead, they saved me." A long pause. "I am not proud of what I did before, but I am proud of what I became." He smiled, faintly. "I don't know if peace is possible. Maybe the war will continue. Maybe I'll be forgotten. But if you're watching this, then maybe the truth will live longer than hate." The screen went dark. No applause followed, just quiet tears. And new eyes finally opened. Back on the alien world, the girl walked to the edge of a cliff that overlooked the valley. She held the orb close. Around her neck was a worn scarf, the same one her mother had stitched and once handed to a strange human soldier long ago. The girl raised the orb high, facing the stars. It glowed brighter, then pulsed once, twice, and sent a signal, not just to Earth, not just to alien colonies, but across every system where fear still ruled. A message, a memory, a name. Some say the signal carried Ethan's voice. Others say it carried only silence, the kind that makes people think. But one thing was clear. A story had been told of a man who had the power to destroy, but chose to protect. A man who saw an enemy, but found a mother. A man who entered war and became a bridge. A few days later, in a distant desert, a human patrol found something strange. A figure, tall, thin, wrapped in dusty cloth, walking alone toward the horizon. He carried no weapon, only a glowing orb. When they called out to him, he didn't speak. He only smiled and kept walking. They followed him for miles. But then, he vanished in the wind. Legends grew. Was Ethan alive? Did he become a wanderer between worlds? Was he taken by peacekeepers, or had he become part of something bigger? A symbol, an idea that could never be shot down. No one knew for sure. But children, human and alien alike, were now told a new kind of bedtime story. Not of war heroes with guns, but of one man who chose kindness in the darkest place, and in doing so, lit a flame that even space could not put out. Final scene. A schoolroom on a distant moon. A human teacher and an alien elder sit together. A mixed group of children listen with bright eyes. The elder speaks slowly. Long ago, one human found one alien mother, searching for food among ruins. The children lean closer. And what he did next, shocked the galaxy. The elder smiles. He gave her bread and hope. The teacher adds, and in doing so, gave us all a future. The children clap. One of them raises a hand. Do you think he's still out there? The elder only smiles. Sometimes the brightest stars are the ones you can't see.